This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails. Garner great pet tips and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Now, Groomer has it, and I did say Groomer has it that we don't just have a good guest on our show today. We have a great guest today who has international acclaim. She is known internationally as a competitive master groomer on Groom Team USA. She also is the head of the grooming, you can tell me more about this, Heart Paw, and she loves pets to be able to look their finest. Please give pause and applause to the one and only Helen Schaefer. Welcome to the show, Helen.
Thanks for having me, Arden.
Are you ready for this?
I think so. I don't know. I thought I was, but now I don't know.
Well, I do know that you can answer this question. What is the largest organ on the body of a dog or a cat?
The skin.
Yay! She knows her stuff. And you make a lifetime career out of making sure coats and skin are healthy, correct?
That is correct. I'm actually a certified canine esthetician, too. I took specialized courses for skin and coat care.
Nice. My dogs, Kona and Emma, are sitting back there going, do you think she could come over and give me a makeover? But you also help cats, and we're going to dive into all of that. But I understand way back, whatever, you don't look that old to me, but way back when you weren't a little girl going, when I grow up, I'm going to be a certified, internationally acclaimed pet groomer and an esthetician for pets. What were you doing in corporate America when the light bulb came on?
I was actually a project manager for a printing brokerage company.
That sounds exciting.
It was so exciting, let me tell you. My biggest client was Comcast. Okay. When you sign up for the internet welcome kits and they give you the welcome to the internet, that was my job. All
right. We're going to find out how she went from cable to coats after we take this quick commercial break. So sit and stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a pause. 4 furry ones, actually. Sit and stay. Oh Behave will be right back.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms, and our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, Stitcher, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Oh Behave is back with more tail-wagging ways to achieve harmony in the household with your pets. Now back to your fetching host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. On our show today is the one and only Helen Schaefer. We're going to go through some of your little acclaims because you are the master groomer at Heart Paw. What is that, Heart Paw?
Heart Paw is a Philadelphia startup. It's a vet-driven pet center. So every center is a full vet hospital with radiology. We do dental, surgery, the whole general practice.
Nice.
Some of us do specialties. And then most centers have daycare as well for the dogs.
Wow. I was going to say for the employees when they want a little R&R.
Right, yeah. And then most of the centers also have style services, so the pet grooming.
So how did you go from corporate America to becoming one of the best? And you're on Groom Team USA, which I love that. I don't know if you have a chant, clip, clip, snip, snip. I don't know. Do you have a chant for Groom Team USA? You got to have one.
We don't, but I think that the Groom Team board meeting's coming up, so I will set that proposal out for them.
Clip, clip, snip, snip. Make your dog hip, hip. Oh, come on.
No, it's very catchy.
Okay, you can do it. You can do it. But it isn't easy to have a pair of scissors or clipping shears. And all dogs, all cats have different attitudes, different needs. So I'm assuming there is not one fits all kind of approach do you take?
That's correct. I think it's really important to be well-rounded in our handling skills and to be able to read the animal on our table. I teach a behavior class, Handling 101 for Barkley.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Barkley Productions. That's one of the largest producers of grooming seminars throughout the United States.
Wow. Give us a couple of tips, because I have a nice groomer in Dallas. Shout out to Omar, because I don't need Kona as much. She's a terrier mix, but Emma is a poodle / chihuahua / canine cocktail. And I know that there are different needs. We had a Bernese Mountain Dog mix, so there's a double coat right there.
Yeah.
So can you give a couple of tips for people in between visits when I think you should go to a professional groomer, at least, as often as it dictates for your pet's coat. But, sometimes you're doing a little touch up.
Yeah, no, I agree. One of the most important things is to keep the mats at bay.
Okay.
Matting, a lot of people brush at home and they think they're doing a great job. But the problem with the matting is that it starts closer to the skin than anyone really thinks.
Oh,
it's not a tangle on the end. It's a tangle near the skin, because what happens is, you mentioned Bernese Mountain Dogs are double coated. Most dogs are. Most dogs have 2 or 3 different types of hair, and the undercoat doesn't have a totally formed cuticle, so it doesn't lay smooth. It has more of like a rough feel to it, and you can see it. That's what would, if you have a shedding dog, is all over your house. It's that light, fluffy stuff, and it all gets caught on each other and creates the dust bunnies.
Yes. Have you been to my house before I'm supposed to vacuum?
I have Cocker Spaniels. I know them well. But what happens is the undercoat absorbs a lot of the sebum and the dander. So the shedding skin cells, they shed their skin cells just like we do all day long. And then it tangles up into those guard hairs, which is what gives your dog that color and shiny coat. You can have 1 guard hair per hair follicle, but up to 20 to 30 of those undercoat hairs per hair follicle.
Are you kidding?
No. And so even dogs we don't think about having undercoat, like Yorkies, they still do have some undercoat. There's very few actual single coated dogs, just because of genetics. Right. Even the hairless dogs have some hair.
I feel like I'm getting schooled, and I'm happy about it. So what is a good tip you can give people on what they need to do with a comb or a brush? Obviously, working with your groomer on picking the right grooming brush or tool that fits the coat of your pet. But in between visits, what are you suggesting?
Absolutely. Definitely check with your groomer for the tools that are proper for your dog's coat.
Right.
But you want to brush thoroughly, at least maybe once a week for the very, very long dogs. So,
give me a breed.
Yeah, a couple times a week. The longer the hair is, the more often it needs to be touched up.
Okay. That's why I keep my hair short.
Yeah. But brushing first and then checking with a comb. The comb should slide through the hair without too much resistance. Uh-huh. And it's very important, if you find that resistance, to not try to yank the comb and instead go back and work it with a brush.
Good tip.
A really old school tip is, if you have cornstarch, you can rub it into a mat and it will help seal that hair, because it'll fill in the gaps of the cuticle and it loosens up that mat to help facilitate it being brushed out. And because it is an all natural product, it's not going to affect the skin or the coat in a negative way.
You're like Doogie Howser and the Good Doctor all in one. I mean, you are pulling out things that most guests do. I get like 3 tips. We haven't even got to the halfway mark, and you already like hitting us with some good stuff. There's enthusiasm there. I mean, what is it about grooming that is really gets you going? I mean, I love it. I love people that love what they do.
I do love what I do. I was actually in Spain over the weekend grooming. I'm a little crazy about it, but one of the things, I get bored easily. I need to always be learning something, and I'm not great at routine. So that's one of the things that I love about grooming is even though it's the same skill set applied over and over again, every day's a little different. Every pet's a little different. Every visit's a little different. And there's no limit to what you can learn about grooming. I'm never going to know everything about grooming. There's always going to be something new to learn. There's always going to be a new product, a new technique, a new, breed of dog that I haven't gotten to work on before, or a new hairstyle that I haven't gotten to do. And so that's exciting.
I like that.
It's like food too. When you are a groomer, like I mentioned, I travel internationally to compete. But when I go there, a lot like food is a universal language, dogs are a universal language. People love their pets. And so it kind of makes the world a little bit of a closer place. Not smaller, but closer together.
Yeah. So where are some of the places you've been outside of the USA?
I recently competed in Belgium at Groomania, which was the World Championship tournament. I was not on the U.S. team for the championship, but I did compete in the individuals, and I assisted the travel team.
How'd you do?
I finished my dogs.
Did you get some Belgian chocolate?
I got some Belgian chocolate. We got some mussels. We got waffles. We did the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. It's a different level competing internationally and knowing that you were with the best, absolute best in the world. It was just an honor to be there. And I'm very proud of the work that I did.
Do you remember, I hope you do, because I think you should. What's been the best performance you've done internationally?
I won, there's a special class in Canada called the Dual Duel.
Dual?
The Dual Duel.
Okay.
And it's two groomers competing on one dog at the same time. Yeah. And I did that with one of my best friends. It was actually the weekend we met. We had never met in person before that.
What kind of dog? And shout out to your friend.
My friend's name is Cat Early. So hey girl, hey. And then,
hey girl, hey.
And it was a Cocker Spaniel, because that's really what bonded us together, is we both compete with and love Cocker Spaniels.
So you were both on the same dog. So, I mean, you really do also have to watch the behavior response and cues from this dog, because there's double action scissors and clippers. So what was some ways that you made that dog feel at home while you and she went to town?
Again, I think like you said, it's very important to pay attention to the pet on your table and watch their comfort level. Dogs respond to us. They don't pull away or growl or nip or show their teeth because they're trying to ruin our day.
No,
I think a lot of people think oh, they did that to me. And they're not doing it to you. They're doing it about something.
They're scared.
They're scared, nervous, in pain. A lot of dogs have arthritis or joint issues that even at a young age, like 6, they can start feeling those effects. I mean, I'm not that old, and I feel it in my back all the time. I have a vertebrae that's sacralized, and I get arthritis around it. So I get arthritis pain. Okay. The same thing can happen to your dog. You wouldn't necessarily know that they have that structural issue.
How did the dog do? And tell us about how long did it take to do a dual?
It takes about 2 hours. And
wow.
She did really well. Yeah. So we come with the dog bathed and prepped. It's nice having a second set of hands, because there is a lot of action going on in that group, because it's not just us two, it's other teams as well, with dogs and music and people watching.
Yeah.
So when she did get nervous, one of us would be able to pet her head, talk to her softly, keep a calm energy about us. Maybe we needed to step back because we're crowding her. So it was things like that we really...
So how did you guys finish? How did you finish?
We won.
Woo! Yeah. All right. Did the doggy get an extra special grade A level treat?
Oh, she sure did. Our theme was Lady and the Tramp, so we had spaghetti and we shared.
Oh, that's hilarious. Hey, everybody, we're talking to a certified master groomer. She is Helen Schaefer, and she's with Heart Paw. I want you to check that site out, heartandpaw.com, after the show. But when we come back, I hope she can dive into the meow, some gentle kitty techniques, because there's some cats out there that, they're good self-groomers, but they want to look fantastic. So everybody sit and stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a walk on the red carpet, of course. All Behave will be back in a flash. right after these messages.
Pet Life Radio, the #1 pet radio network on the planet, joins forces with iHeartRadio to put the power of your pets in your pocket. Awesome! Download the iHeartRadio app and rock Pet Life Radio on your phone, on your tablet, on your Xbox, in your car. Pet talk, pet tunes, and fun pet times. Pet Life Radio and iHeartRadio. Positively Possum.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hey y'all, it's Kelly Pickler, and you're listening to Arden Moore on Old Behave on Pet Life Radio. I love y'all.
We're back from the lot. Just checked the paper and we had a record showing at the box. The letterbox, that is. Now back to Oh Behave. Here's Arden.
Welcome back to the O Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I'm digging Helen Schaefer. I wish you lived in Dallas. You live in the Philly area, right?
That is correct, yeah.
Yeah. Years ago, I was at Rodale Press. I lived in Emmaus, Pennsylvania. It sounds like a billy goat, doesn't it? Emmaus, Pennsylvania. Home of prevention and men's health where I worked. But I loved the Lehigh Valley, and that whole area is really, really nice. Kitty cats, the Cat Fancier Association, the International Cat Association, TICA. There's other registries. You know, they've been around a long time. There's not as many cat breeds as there are dogs. But what these associations have been doing is also recognizing the household cat division. So I have a couple of mutt cats, a couple of ginger kitties. When should somebody even think to pick up the phone and call someone like you to do a groom job on a cat? If they're not in the show. I mean, I'm talking like regular. And then we'll go to purebred.
Regular pet cats, yes. A lot of people think that cats don't benefit from grooming, but that's not true. Yes, they lick their arms and their fur, but it's usually to remove pollen or other irritants that are bothering them, or to even cool themselves down. That's a method of them cooling their own bodies down. But the real benefit to grooming a cat is not only does it make the cat feel good, because they do tend to have a drier, thinner skin, so it's important to keep moisture in it.
Oh, good.
But it also reduces any allergens that they produce off, because when they do lick themselves, that saliva protein is actually what most people are allergic to.
The FI1378 hike, right?
Yep.
All right.
And then it's always easier to bathe and brush out a cat versus shaving one down.
Oh, okay.
Especially the long-haired cats can get quite matted, and maintenance baths and brushing make it more part of their routine versus this traumatizing thing where, okay, now we have to catch the cat, okay, and they have their own kitty agenda. They do not like that.
Yeah.
And
I think my cats wear invisible watches. They know exactly to the minute when I should be in the kitchen preparing their food.
Oh, yeah. No, they have a routine. They're living their best lives. And then all of a sudden we're going to grab them, shove them in a little box, take them in the car, and then drop them off at a strange place. And it's not part of their routine. So now they're extra upset. So one of the things that I always do when we get cats in is we use Feel Away, which is a pheromone spray.
Right.
We have a special cat area, so they're not groomed with the dogs, which helps.
Yes.
And so we leave them kind of in their carrier. We spray a towel with the Feel Away, and I let them sit and relax for 30 minutes. So that way they can kind of see what's going on, get used to the smells, the sounds, and then we go and see
I like that. I'm a fear-free certified professional national speaker, and what you're describing is exactly that, reducing fear, anxiety, and stress in an animal that has 5 weapons of mass destruction and a flexible spine, right?
Very flexible. We actually, we had one today that we had to kind of stop and talk to the owner about maybe getting some PVPs on, which is generally here we prescribe gabapentin or trazodone.
I was going to ask you, gabapentin's been for everybody. Neither one of us are veterinary pharmacists or veterinarians, but check with your veterinarian because it is a quick acting, no big make the cat drunk or anything, and it comes in and out real quick, and it's kind of just a chilling kind of, just take a chill pill kind of cat medicine, right?
Yeah, it takes off that anxiety edge. It helps reduce that fight or flight response. And yes, obviously I'm not a vet, but Heart Paw is a vet, so that's,
but you work with some.
Yeah, we work with some. I play one on TV, so okay.
Well, with cats too. So that's cool for the average kitty cat. Do you get any cats that are going to cat shows that may be, let's do a couple extremes. The very, very hairy Maine Coon versus the Sphinx. Like somebody, where's my coat? I can't find my coat. I'm naked.
I don't do show cats, or I have not had the pleasure to, but I do Sphinx here.
Oh, really? Okay.
The cat I was talking about earlier is a Maine Coon. So with the Sphinx, a lot of it is keeping that skin healthy. So they need to be moisturized. A sugar scrub or a salt scrub is usually a great option. They can get those clogged follicles, which we consider on a human blackhead. Same thing with the kitty cat, especially over the violet gland on the tail. We call it stud tail, but that's where their pheromones are produced. So they do end up with a lot of extra dander and dirt that accumulates there because of the extra pheromones and sebum.
Okay. And with the dog breeds, because one quote I saw you attributed to, you said you have a slogan where every dog is a work of art. What do you mean by that, Helen?
So I did own, prior to joining Heart Paw, I owned my own salon for a while. I have a business degree and then realized that I hate paperwork, which I should have known from.
You'd rather have snippers and clippers and combs and brushes. Oh my, right?
Yes. So I'm much happier being a leader at a company than the owner of my own.
Gotcha.
But that was my shop slogan, because I think that no matter where that dog comes from, or its pedigree, or if it's a rescue, or if it's, a two-legged, three-toothed Chihuahua that like drugged off the alleyway, that's somebody's family member. And we have an obligation to make them feel as comfortable and as pretty as they can be. And, that's somebody's beloved pet. And I think that that's the most important thing, that when you are an animal practitioner, that you keep that in mind. It's not just a patient, a client, a paycheck. It's somebody's
most priceless asset. And I got to tell you, we found our little Emma Gemma on the streets running around with no collar, no microchip, right at the start of COVID in our neighborhood. And she looked like a zombie dog. I thought she was an old dog, matted, everything. And she had heartworms. So someone must have dumped her, and because it's a very slow, expensive, but everything good. She's bounced back. But I got to tell you, when she was strong enough to get a real professional groom, when I picked her up from Omar, she had the biggest grin on her face. Talk about the transformation that happens in some of these pets that just come in like, oh my gosh, what happened to you? And now they look like they're, styling. They should be walking the catwalk.
No, and they feel good. It's just like us when we get our hair done and we feel great, right?
Yeah.
And somebody tells us, oh, your hair looks great. And then you feel even better. And that's the nice thing. It's that energy, because you can see that dog feels better and you're happy about it. And so they're feeding off of that. That's the same thing I always tell people when, a lot of first-time dog owners occurred during COVID. Yeah. And they would have to, they're not prepared. It was, I'm home. I've always wanted a dog. Now's the time. And that's great. Welcome to the family.
But they're not self-care.
Yeah, they're not born knowing English. They don't groom themselves. And so, there was a lot of that like shock, especially with the grooming salons in Pennsylvania were closed for 5 months.
Oh, wow.
Needing to like start the code over, and that happens to everyone. And there's a lot of reviews, if you dig deep enough on any random grooming page, I'm sure, about the dog feeling shame. Like, oh, I can't believe it. My dog's hiding from me. And a lot of it is the way that dogs are responding to us. So if you're upset that they're shaved, they're going to feel upset. If you're happy that they feel better because those mats were pulling at their skin, and it's going to grow back and they look so much more, they look relieved. Yeah. They're going to be positive and happy. And, I think that it's important on both sides of the grooming appointment to have a good, find a groomer that you click with. And
you click with and you clip with.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's true.
Different style.
Yeah. Because when I had my senior dog, Cleo, I knew, because I do head to tail assessments on her at the time regularly. She was a retired surfing dog. And I would find the skin tags on her. And I don't think I'm insulting Omar the groomer when I'd say, hey, Omar, remember Cleo's little skin tags are here, here, and here. And is that helpful? I mean, what are some things we can do? We got a few minutes left to help us help the groomer, to help our pet.
I think that that's helpful. But I also think, too, I think the most helpful thing that owners can do is, and sounds really weird, but to remember that groomers are humans,
Thank you.
And they're very artsy. And so we're very soft people. We would not work with dogs if we didn't love dogs. We wouldn't, trust me, like this is backbreaking, hard work, that it's a lot of dedication, and they are only human. So I think just having understanding and also listening to the groomer when sometimes concerns are brought up and we can't legally diagnose something. I can't say your dog has an ear infection.
Right.
I can say, I noticed that they're scratching at their ears and they look red and they smell funny and you should
They smell like stale Fritos.
Yeah. And so a lot of times when you say that, because I can't say, hey, your dog has an ear infection. Hey, your dog has a lot of signs of gingivitis. That's me diagnosing. I can get in trouble for that.
Right.
But I think that sometimes owners don't understand, like we're trying to tell you there's a real issue here. And then they go to their vet and the vet's like, well, it has an ear infection. And then you get the complaint or the review or I'm not coming back because you didn't tell me my dog had an ear infection. And it's like,
but that's okay. It's part of it is you're in the industry as a leader, but you're also in the industry as an educator. So you're trying to help both groomers and the pet public, right?
Yes.
And I think you brought up a good point. We have to realize we have to stay in our lane, but you're being proactive and showing something that needs veterinary attention.
Right. And so it's important that like customers understand, like, I'm not saying your dog's neglected because this happened. I'm not, but right. I'm trying to tell you, like, hey, Fluffy's getting older and she's having a hard time walking. And like, maybe we need to think about a little bit of a diet or some like supplements because, that affects their joints. And I think people just love their pets so much. And like owners are very sensitive about their pet, and groomers also, I will say, they get really upset when something's in the news and there's always things happen and an accident is an accident and we never want it to happen. But you always get the like 20 calls afterwards. Like, did you see in the news? And like, it's almost like we did it. And it's, so.
Well, I'm going to say on the air, we are with one of the best professional master groomers in the country who I can feel the love, the big heart, the care. And she's both a student and a teacher. And like I said, if I lived in the Philly area, I would get out of the Philly cheesesteak line and make an appointment at Heart Paw with you. And I think that's okay. I just want to keep it more positive if we could.
Yeah.
And so what's the bottom line? I mean, when you're giving splish splash, I'm taking a bath and it's a cat or a dog, what are a couple tips that you can share so we don't get water in their ears? And I know the dog has to do the shake. I think it's needed, right?
Yeah. The most important thing when you're bathing at home is to make sure you actually rinse really well.
Okay, good.
A lot of people don't rinse, even some groomers don't rinse enough. Okay. You want to make sure that when you gently squeeze the coat, including the ears and the feet, that the water that runs out between your fingers is clear.
Oh,
not cloudy, not sudsy. You want it to be clear. And if there's any kind of residue left, that water's going to look cloudy. And then with the ears, it's not so bad to get water in the ear as long as there's no ongoing infection, as long as you follow it up with a ear cleaner.
Oh, okay.
Witch hazel is a great ingredient. I try to get the alcohol-free kind. Okay. If you have a dog and a cat at home, you just want to be aware that witch hazel is not safe for cats.
Okay, good.
So micellar water-based ear cleaner is better for them.
Yeah, and I do know there's some veterinary-approved products out there. In fact, we're sponsored by Pet King Brands, the makers of Oratine and Zymox for and so I'm just saying they're veterinary approved. So look for veterinary approved, right? And work with your veterinarian.
Yeah, and Zymox actually has a great ear cleaner. They have great products.
Okay, good. Well, they're happy. Maybe they'll renew. Thank you. You want to do a shout out to your personal pets? Who do you have?
I have 8.
Oh, no. Okay, we have only a half hour left. Just kidding. Shout them out. Let's see if you can do it. Do it.
Okay, so I have Kuda, Lenny, Capel, Tyrion, Elliot, Russo, Danbury, and Keith.
Okay, all dogs, giraffes, cats,
all dogs. All dogs. Okay. 3 Cocker Spaniels, 2 Poodles, a Bashan, a Lakeland, and a Rescue Staffy Bull Terrier, who is 17.
Aw, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Any last message you want to share to make sure that we do pay attention to our pets?
Pets are family too, obviously. And we definitely want to make sure that they get something special and make sure, no poultry bones. I know everybody says it, but no poultry bones.
Good. Helen, I really appreciate you being on the show, but more importantly, I appreciate what you're doing because it is an art, but it's also a science, and you're trying to make sure you find things. You're keeping pets healthy, and all of us know what it's like to have a spa day, and I think you make sure it's a spa day, and that's not bad, right?
No, not at all.
So people dash over to heartandpaw.com,
Yep.
heartandpaw.com after the show. I also want to do a shout out to my producer, Mark Winter. He's the executive producer of Pet Life Radio. We are the largest radio network on the planet. He is a surgeon of sound. Do your dogs need grooming, right, Mark? Havanese. What do you think of that, Helen?
They're really cute. The official dog of Cuba. Yeah. And they're actually, we think of Bichons as little white fluffy dogs, but Havaneses are Bichons too, because Bichon's a type, like a retriever.
Oh. And I think I think Nikki's a very spoiled Havanese, hopefully, right, Mark?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Please check out all the shows on Pet Life Radio. Go to my site, ardenmoore.com, and I have a big ask. Could you please consider going on and subscribing to my YouTube channel? I have over 400 videos now. Just go to Arden Moore on YouTube. You'll make me a happy camper. And until next time, this is your flea-free host, well-groomed, Arden Moore, saying just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's Oh Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. Oh Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.